Okay, so hi again class. This is part 3 of our little series on the still life. Very simple rock still life. It's a rockin' still life, I guess. Enough puns, but anyway, so I wanted to show you a couple things. One is like the process of drawing as a whole. I know that we've gone through this a little bit, but sometimes it's good to review. But anyway, so to draw a still life like this or any kind of subject, I always start with a very, very light pencil drawing sketch, and that includes some of the outlines. I know you probably can't see this very well. That's actually a lot darker, little heavier line that I would normally use for this stage of the drawing, because I wanted it to show up on this video, but normally it would be barely visible, just enough that I can know where things are going. And basically I've sketched out the basic value shapes that I'm seeing. So the areas where it changes between light and dark, or where there's an edge that I need to be aware of. So that's all it is, just sort of mapping out where everything goes, real nice and loose and gestural, and not getting too hung up on any kind of detail, and just sort of getting in the basic shapes and proportions as I see them, okay? And then from there, I would then go in and develop the drawing a little bit, and so it would come out, and again, we're paying attention, very close attention to some of those tips and tricks that we talked about before. So right in here, that disappearing edge, that disappearing outline, where the tone of the background blends in so much that it sort of bleeds together right in there. And that looks really natural compared to if there's an outline in that spot, okay? This is just a very loose sketch, and notice how I made sure to make sure that the shadow is complex. It's darker in this area, a little bit more darkness over there. And paid attention to the fact that my object has is dark against a light background up here, but it's light against a dark background in this area. And in that area it's the same, so it kind of blends together. Okay, so that's kind of how a black and white drawing would go. And then in terms of color, remember the second part of the video we talked about different modes of incorporating colors in the reflections and how it interacts with our objects depending on the environment that it's in. So as an example, I thought I'd show you, just start with a grisaille or black and white image, and then I'm going to develop a little bit of that shadow reflectivity with the colors. So let me just go ahead and add in a few things here. So let's pretend that we've got some red background information over here. Just going to kind of fade that in. You'll notice that it'll come up into the reflected portion of our object. On the other side, I might add in some blue reflected stuff over here. Blue and brown and mixed together makes a really nice shadow color. Purple's another good one. Shadows they kind of look really nice when they're deep blue for some reason. Again, I think it relates to how things outside tend to have blue shadows, especially on a bright, clear day, because of the blue sky. So there, I've kind of mixed in some color into my shadow areas and kind of give it a little more life. Okay, so anyway, thanks, and we'll talk to you again soon.